encounter with something on my walk. This was 7 months ago, but I still haven't gotten any answers from anyone, so I'll share it here and see what others think. So I just got back from my walk. It's about 7 p.m. for me, sun was setting, it's already overcast so it's a bit darker than usual, and for a little background, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, one of those houses, kind of away from the main city, outright by a mountain preserve. I guess you could say it's basically connected to it, a very cool area but very unsettling at night. That's where I go on my walks, about 15 minutes away from my house. Right in front of me, I see this strange-looking creature about 10 feet away from me, seemed to be floating, completely motionless and hard to make out exactly what it looked like, but below is a link to a drawing of what it looked like: glowing red eyes, one snapped horn and another full horn on its head, long black demonic arms with sharp-looking claws, wearing a dark black ratty cloak. I looked at it for about 2 whole seconds before it vanished almost like fog. Then it appeared again further down my walk about 5 or 6 minutes later, even further than before, almost like it was watching me from a distance. I was listening to my playlist at the time, and suddenly a loud, horrible high-pitched blood-curdling scream blasted through my headphones in the middle of the song, and the creature vanished. It was the loudest fucking scream I've ever heard, but it was probably because it was directly into my ears, but still it made me drop to my goddamn knees. After that, it seemed to vanish. I didn't see it again, but the rest of the way home I could feel a presence as well as a feeling of being watched. I've had lots of encounters with other creatures out here, but this one was probably one of the most terrifying I've had. I've speculated if it was a skinwalker or a banshee, but would definitely like to hear others' opinions. Below is the link of the drawing I made of what I saw.
My experience with a skinwalker or something close to it. Hey guys, Spino here, and no, my cousin and I have not invoked on hunting the skinwalker as of this moment. So I've read a lot of your comments on my last post, and what I say intimidated me, as it should lol. But this comes to mind an experience I had in early 2011 with the cousin in question. It was midwinter, so about early January, and my cousin and I were out in the woods playing. Mind you, we were 6-7 at the time, and we stumbled across a carcass. Now this carcass was of a robin bird freshly killed, but the way it was killed was unlike anything neither him or I had seen before. Now up until this point I had been hunting with my dad every year since I was about 4, and I had seen dead bird and eaten carcasses before. It was torn into one half not too far away from the other, as its entrails had been eaten, but not anything else on it like anything conventional. Now we get back to playing and notice other oddities in the small patch of woods we were in. The hill next to his barn was steep and snow-covered, but every so often there were patches of bird feathers almost ritualistically plotted all around to mark something, a territorial boundary I'd presume. But anyway, further down the small trail that lead to the road uphill we seen it. It was a humanoid, thin, brown, hairless and soulless. It had deep dark pools for eyes like craters in its face and was built so goddamn wrong. Its arms were ungodly long and slim to a point where you could see bone. Now at this point, being the tough guys me and my cousin thought we began to yell and throw our hands as we charged it. It was gone in a matter of seconds, bolting in the trail line, into the road and gone the other side. After this my cousin and I ran inside and almost began to cry, questioning on what the hell we just experienced. The story however doesn't end there. Fast forward to 2016, my cousin is in the living room and he's watching TV. The dog had to go out for a dump or something, so he let it out and watched her. That's when this thing makes itself known. In the tree line it leers up and looks dead at him, but when it noticed the rushing dog coming at it barking like hell, it hunched over and frowns. The dog stopped suddenly right in front of it and began to sniff, clearly confused. Soon enough the dog walked off, crapped and was let back inside. This thing glanced at my cousin one more time and walked off. It's 2020 now and my cousin had only one more experience like this since, and that was when he was with his girlfriend. They were ready to get down and dirty with it by his car in a bigger patch of secluded woods by his house when he heard this noise. Similar to a bear but with a more human tone to it. After hearing this they haul ass back to his car, and ever since then he refused to go back. After having an in-depth conversation with him recollecting all this information, we agreed to try and hunt a skinwalker or a wendigo or something like that. Take my story as you will, but I just want to ask you guys. What the hell did we see? What the hell stalks the rural woods of New Hampshire to such an extent? Mind you, when I seen this thing it was about the size of myself. A 7-year-old. When my cousin seen it he said it was much larger yet retained the hairless and skinny physique. Should we hunt and try to kill it? Or leave it be? Whatever it was intelligent, ritualistic, and cunning. I'm just curious to find out if it was a skinwalker or not. Take my word for what it is, because I do believe most of these things hunt and stalk the rural areas of the North American wilderness. Skinwalker encounter in Virginia. So I went over to my friend's house and he lives close to the national forest. We decided to start a fire and just relax for a bit outside. He had to go see what his sister was doing and walked off. I stayed and watched the fire and it slowly died to embers in about 5 minutes after he left. It was a blazing fire and no way it should have went out that fast. So it goes out, I put on music and I start to hear almost like joints popping like bubble wrap. I thought nothing of it, but it kept getting closer. I turn around with my flashlight and see this creature with no eyes, ears, or mouth, basically like the Rake. I jump up and drop my phone. Quickly run to my free porch and look back and it just stares at me and I see his fingers reach around the tree. Fingers 8 inches or longer. Then it bolts off and it was so deformed and it ran like a cheetah. Without making noises. I tell my friend and we go look for his sister and hear noises like voices and animals around us and keep seeing things. We get them and they don't believe us. We walk back to the house and everything seems fine, but after a while my back feels hit and aches a little. We lift up my shirt and there are like scratch marks but no blood. It looked almost like whip marks and me and my friend are nail biters. I didn't feel any pain while we were looking. This is possibly the scariest thing I experienced. I'll post my back scratches and the odd part, my shirt was not ripped. It almost like it was playing with me. Edit. My friend said he has seen that creature twice and not sure if it is a skinwalker, but it's the best thing you can match it to. His dad has never seen it but hears stuff all the time and the animals they have will start freaking out when no one's is around. His sister says we are messing with them and I don't really care, I have a clear conscience is finding them. Also I had to walk about 3 miles at 2 a.m. and I'm 250 pounds. My fat butt is not doing this for fun if I see danger. I also working on my weight, so I'm glad I wasn't 300 like I once was. Weird experience then finding out native background where it happened. So about 2 months ago me and a friend were cruising looking for a place to smoke and chill, and you know that goes, lol, so we came across this old spring. It's now a state forest. Middle of nowhere. It's late and dark. We walk down a trail, stop at a pond and start to mess around and we start hearing this bloody scream, never heard anything like it. At first I thought it was an angry animal, but the more it made noises the more I realized I had no idea what the hell it was. It really scared me for a second. I tried shining my light in the direction of the sound, but there was a pond separating us from the woods the sound was coming from. Maybe that was a good thing, so it did this screaming for some seconds. Then would stop. This on and off happens for like 5-10 minutes. We leave. We weren't there long at all. I was so confused but never thought anything of it, was just more concerned about my friend I was with. But later that night when I was going to dozing off to sleep, I heard that screaming in my head and it jolted me awake. So I started looking up different animals and all the types of noises. Nothing matched. Still can't find anything that matches it. Then I learned of these walker type things. I'm like, okay, I believe anything is possible anymore. I know my dad and mom's side both have close native blood. Mom has Cherokee and dad has Chippewa. Okay y'all, I'm sorry, bear with me, this is where it gets weird. Today my mom just brought up this Spring State Park forest place up. I've never told her or anyone about this experience, and how her boyfriend went there and how he found a very nice arrowhead there. Didn't think much of it. So I'm falling asleep right now and it all clicks. So then I go online and search, Native Americans settled there and got water from the springs. I can't find much more info, but natives were definitely there, and now I'm even more spooked. I've never had an experience like this ever. I've posted on this subreddit before about my experience, and I had people sending me animal sounds and all sorts, but I can't find anything that matches it. Where I am from we have deer and bunnies and geese and ducks and cows. We don't have cougars or mountain lions. When I was 19 I think I saw a skinwalker. So I've always wanted to share this story. I've only told a few people, just cause I knew nobody would probably believe me, and to be honest it took a few years for me to come to terms with what I saw, but I still stand by it. When I was 19, I'm 31 now, I lost my job at Coca-Cola plant in Deming, born and lived till I was 24. My older brother asked if I would be interested in working at the mines in Morenci, Arizona. He had been there for a month already with a friend. They lived in a RV park in Clifton, Arizona, and the mine wasn't far from where they lived. I jumped at the chance to get out of my boring-ass town, and in about 3 weeks, I had myself a job there. I would stay with my brother and his friend in the RV, and on weekends we would drive back to Demi to visit family, etc. The RV park we stayed at was actually pretty interesting. On one side there was like a wall, where on the bottom was like a gorge where it would venture off into streams through the town, and on the other a huge cliff. At night the way the moon hit it looked like something out of a painting. The courtyard was huge, all the RVs wrapped around it. Where we were parked to get to the showers and rec room was just a straight 200 feet walk, majority through the big-ass courtyard. The thing that did suck there was the javelinas. Sometimes after taking a shower you would have to haul ass back to your RV or wait in the rec room for them to leave outside. They would sometimes be wandering in the park. I remember one time my brother and friend thought it would be funny to chase a javelina family off with bats. It was pretty hilarious, until they got chased back. So one night after dinner I decided to go outside and listen to music. I remember we had a picnic type bench that faced towards the courtyard. I'm sitting there, with my headphones and bumping sewed, when I saw something come into the courtyard. I thought it was a cat at first, moved like one, but the body was longer. Then I saw the longer ears and was like, oh, maybe it's a dog? I'm watching it kind of move through the area, but it was already dark so I couldn't see it perfectly. My headphones are still blaring. I decide to get up off the bench and get its attention. I do that thing where you click your mouth to get dog's attention, and I see the ears go up when it heard me. I'm kind of standing by my RV door and the table still, and I see the thing start to come towards me, but I see it's crouching but moving quick. I'll never forget that. There I am smacking my tongue at it like a idiot, and this thing is moving like a snake. It got about maybe 80 feet before all of a sudden it must have heard something in the distance, because it stopped and its head kind of cocked and decided to run off towards the cliffs. Here's the thing I'll never ever forget, when it ran off it stood up. It looked like a very skinny boy had been wearing a fur, cause when it ran off the skin was dangling but still attached to his head. It was so fast and strange I just sort of stood there like huh? I really had to just stand there and let my brain process, or try to process, what I saw. I told my brother and his friend. Course they didn't believe me. My brother said his probably somebody's dog, but that still didn't explain the boy. I told my mom. She's seen some crazy stuff in her time, but nothing like what I told her. I never saw anything like that at the RV park again. Still saw javelinas wandering, but that was it. I worked for another few weeks but got laid off and went back to Deming. I honestly don't know too much about skinwalkers, but I know I saw something that wasn't in the realm or normal.